Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Happy hump day. Welcome to September. We made it. Can you believe it? I can't. Here we are. September, PreMarket Prep, Spencer Israel, Dennis Dake, Joel Elconin, here, but not here, but he will be here in a second, I promise. We got to talk today about Lucid Motors. Holy cow. My message is simple. If you are trading SPACs, if you own SPACs, and you don't know about the pipe lockup, then you're the dumb money. Sorry to say that. So Lucid getting cracked this morning. We're going to talk about that. There's Joel. We're going to talk about Crowdstrike. We're going to talk about Alibaba. We're going to talk about Neo, Corsair, and Skill is getting love on Reddit. We'll talk about all those stocks. And our guest today has not been on in far too long. Sean Emery is the founder and CIO of Avory and Company, a great Twitter follow. Super long-term guy. He was bullish square like 3 or 4 years ago. Wish I had listened to him then. Hopefully we'll listen to him today. So that'll be 8:35. So got a great show today. Everyone, take a second out of your life and smash that like button, please. And thank you. Let's throw it to Joel now. Joel, how are we doing on this, the first day of September?
The first day of September, we're up 16.5 handles. 0.37% at 45.37. I'm going to talk to Triple D about that action between 4 and 4:30. But anyways, that's where we're at. Pre-market high, 45.40. Only one number on the upside. The all-time high, the pre-market high from yesterday, 42.25. On the downside, 23.75 seems like a long ways away, so it looks that's safe for now. Crude up 22 cents at 68.72. OPEC rattling their saber later on today, trying to get crude over 70. Gold holding above 1,800, down 280 at 18.15.30. Silver under 24, down 2 cents, 23.98. Bitcoin, it's up 1.1%, $520 at 47,910. But the story is Ethereum. New high for the move, up 3.48%, $119.50 at 35.60, or make that 35.60 and a quarter. Good morning, Triple D.
What's up?
I want to ask you about the price action because I know you really get going. Let's say 4:30 things ramp up. Did you see this little move here right at 4 o'clock? Like the actual mark on the SPOOs, they always are changing when they close the closing price of the SPOOs, and it actually drives me crazy now. They don't
It
do
drives me crazy too because it
it's
marks.
not even close.
You know what? You know why it marks at the 4 o'clock? It marks right
There you
at
go.
4:00, but then they don't have. It depends on the exchange, and then they want to go back and grab it from the primary exchange, which obviously SPY's trading on ARCA. So your system will grab it, maybe grab the close from an exchange that is an ARCA, and then it remarks it about 3-4 minutes later. So that's why. At least that's the way it works on my system. So
Well,
I'll get the mark. It might even be it might be later than that actually. It might be like 5 or 6 minutes later before they give you the official close.
right. And for the SPOOs, they do the VWAP in the last 30 seconds from 59:30 to 4 o'clock, right? So today or yesterday, the mark is 2050. That's not represent. I mean, the thing went off the board at 8 o'clock. I think at 28. I mean, that's not that closing price is nowhere near represented. They used to let it trade until 4:15, and get the mark, and there are some earnings without it would be.
So now they're
adjustment.
marking it from 4.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, the VWAP the last 30 seconds of the day.
They've changed the whole process. You can't even keep up how they changed it. It used to always be 4:15. Remember, it was always 4:15.
Right.
But now they do it at 4.
The last 30, and so you never even got a shot to buy the close yesterday. Not even a. It missed it by. I went in at like 21, and the close was 20.50. It got to 23.75. It's almost like that 5 o'clock print is more important than the actual 4 o'clock print. But whatever.
I was talking about the 10 or the 4 o'clock thing, I was talking SPY. I know you were talking futures.
No, I know.
I jumped back over to SPY.
No, that's the same thing.
The way they market too is weird.
Yeah, and for you with your arbitrage and everything, I mean, you want to know the mark. But anyways,
I want to know the mark right away at 4 o'clock.
I know.
And then the mark changes on me 5 minutes later. I'm like, come on. You think, and sometimes it's 5 cents, sometimes 10 cents, sometimes 15 cents. You think that's not much on SPY, but when you're doing ARB, it is. It's
a huge difference.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. We just like crotchety old men that are complaining about little things.
I don't like that they keep changing the way they do things all the time too. I mean, the imbalances, they've changed that so many times, the way that they, disseminate them, and obviously now they're doing it different again. They now NASDAQ posts, the imbalances at 925, and then they post the indicative price at 928 instead of all at 928. They're always doing changes. I'm a creature of habit. I don't like change. So I complain constantly when I get change. But, okay, that's our rant.
That's our wine for today.
Yeah, let's go to the stock of the day, which is going to be Lucid Group, I believe. These events just seem like they're so predictable. It's like ridiculous. I cannot believe, on an event that we knew was going to happen, the stock actually still tanks on it. It's like, holy man, obvious guy trades here. Would have been nice to be short yesterday. I guess I know I should have did the obvious guy trade. Spencer, thoughts, concerns? Give us the details.
Yeah, I mean, I give the guys on SPACs Tech credit. They've been talking about this. This is not information that's hard to find. It is out there, right? The pipe lock was basically the SPAC version of the IPO lockup, right? And there are pipe investors that got in at a certain price, in this case $15. They got in way early. That expiration is it's publicly available. It's today. So if you are a pipe investor and you bought Lucid at $15, you are just barely in the money because you were at $16.93 right now. And they're selling. This thing closed at 20 yesterday. Closed at 20, and we're down to 16 this morning on the expiration today. So it's a free for all. Everyone is allowed to sell. And so watching frankly, all SPACs with upcoming pipe lockups because
Why is
Yeah,
it
you
pipe
got to keep an
lockup?
eye on these dates.
pipe is a private investor in a public equity. Right?
Oh, wow. Nice.
So yeah, basically the SPAC version of the IPO insiders is the best way I can compare it. And yeah, brutal day. This thing for Lucid. I mean, I don't know.
They
They're
appear
getting-
to be selling as fast as they possibly can. Is this a washout? Is this a retail washout? Maybe. And we know these stocks, we know a lot of these obviously companies and a lot of these SPACs have, been out of favor for a long time. So I don't know. Mitch, you were saying Mitch in the background saying something about 15. What's the reference point?
15 is the price that they bought.
That's where they bought it. So that's where they start losing money.
That's where they got it. Right. So below 15, they're losing money.
Yeah. So you think naturally that might be a bounce point. I know Mitch was talking about it just earlier about 15 as a potential bounce point too. It's a long ways down from here. I'm not sure it's getting all the way down there today, but if it did, maybe it gets the bounce point there. But the most dangerous trades in the world, I will say it again, are those trying to call the bottom.
Yeah.
I lose so much money trying to call the bottom on a big down move. It's always better to wait and not be a hero and say, oh yeah, this is the price. I've lost money again and again and again trying to say, yeah, this is down too far. I'm going to call the bottom. And I try to stop myself from doing it. I did on Fisker. I thought I was going to be a hero and call the bottom on that. And that obviously, now it's in consolidation at least. But, you try to be a hero when stocks are going straight down. Sometimes you really get burned.
Let me be the first to use this pun that those investors are getting smoked.
Is that a pun?
The pipe investors.
Pipe.
Pipe.
I got it.
Joel's so witty. His wit just goes over me and Spencer's head. We can't even get it. The affirmed joke yesterday, we didn't get. Even my dad got it, but I couldn't get it.
Which one?
We missed the smoke in the pipes. Oh man.
Which one did your dad pick up? You did
the horse. He knew the horse right away when you said it. The affirmed.
Oh.
And me and Spencer were like, affirmed. What's he talking about? And
also,
my dad knew right away the horse.
I snuck in one really sarcastic line too. I can't remember. And
we miss them, man.
Yeah, you're talking. You're not listening. But anyways,
I'm a good listener.
With the LCID, I mean, yeah, 15. Let's see if we hold it's one of these where, yeah, everyone thinks it's getting to 15, but maybe it won't. Actually, someone's stepping up here at right here, 1685, 1688. So look to follow through the pre-market low. I don't think we're going to see 15 today. But to see if you can, just keep an eye on this area right here. Maybe they really want to buy 17, but they're just, going for a little discount here at 1687. Don't know much about the company. We'll see what happens today. Do they sell anything? Do they make any money? No. Let's move on.
Yes, let's move on. It's been a couple of days, Joe. We haven't gotten your dad joke of the day. So do we have a dad joke today?
There's a couple good ones.
Okay.
I liked this one yesterday. It said, dads love saying, nice parking job when they see a car that's not parked nicely at all.
I say that.
Yeah. And there was another one that my dad used to say is that, where is this a good one? It was what my dad used to say to me and my buddy Ira when dads love saying good afternoon to anyone that gets up after 7 a.m. My dad used to, when my buddy Ira came out to visit me after freshman year, and we got up about noon, and we were out the night before, and my dad's like, do you know that the Army does more before 7 a.m. than most people do during a day? And I'm like, yeah, Dad. But anyways, the dad for today is dads love saying it's not the heat, it's the humidity that gets you.
These are so accurate. It's scary. It really is. All right, let's move.
No more dad jokes.
Let's move on here. Let's talk
dad joke show. We'll do an entire dad joke show for you one day.
I got them here, right here.
All right, since it's going in the chat, we'll talk CrowdStrike. That was the big earnings report from yesterday. Great report. EPS beat, sales beat, guidance raised for the second time this year. Second time this year they've raised their guidance, and as low as the bar was for Zoom, that's how high the bar was for CrowdStrike today.
Yeah, I mean this Yeah, it's exactly it. This earnings report was fine. It's just the bar that it couldn't get over. It's had a big move up into the earnings. Obviously, we've had a lot of the companies reporting good earnings, and then you get this one coming down. I don't know. You're pulling in $10. Is there going to be buyers beneath on a stock like this? I think so. I just got done telling you I don't like to catch the falling knife, and I get burned trying to call the bottom. On a stock like this, I kind of want to call the bottom. I want to say if this gets anywhere near 260, I would be a buyer. Where do we get to pre-market?
It's weird because you did get to just under 268 in the after hours. Let's see what that after hours low is. But then when people woke up at 4 a.m., they had a whole different mindset. You did get to, this was right before the 8 o'clock close. You got to 67.50.
Yeah.
And now, and then you popped over 74. You know what I can honestly say about this one is I have no idea. It had the big run up off the Palo Alto networks. I'm a buyer here at the gap fill. That's not going to do you any good. And I'm a seller up at the gap fill at yesterday's low. So if you can use that information to your advantage, go ahead. But this is right in. It's just a 270. What do you do?
It's in the middle of nowhere. There's not a real level
of nowhere.
Here.
Nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. The one thing I will say is cybersecurity stocks have been in favor. This is one of the darlings. So I would imagine money managers will come in and buy the dip. Just like, we saw on Etsy, a few weeks ago, which is a darling stock, different sector, but these tech darlings that, are still, and we're definitely not in a bear market. I mean, the market's making new highs. It seems like every day. It seems like these stocks, especially the tech ones, do eventually the dips get bought. So do I want to be buying the dip? Yes. Do I want to be buying on the first day? I'd probably not buy it on the first day, but sometimes they only gives you the first day. We've seen that before too, where they pull in and then it's like, oh no, everybody likes it. The earnings report was fine. So it's just a little bit over expectations. I kind of want to buy the dip, but I've been burned so many times buying on day one that makes me scared. But I would rather be a buyer than a seller. I'll tell you that.
Dennis, you mentioned Etsy. That looks pretty juicy here, actually.
I screwed this trade up. I bought it on the earnings dip, and it pulled up, and I took like a 15-point gain on it, which was really nice. But I don't know why. I got spooked out somewhere when it was consolidating in the 190s, and I got looking at and I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it started to go higher. So you just got to hold the good ones. Etsy's a good one. I know valuation's nuts, but remember, fundamentals don't matter in this market, at least for now. So, the strong get stronger, the weak seem to get weaker. Etsy is probably consolidating to go higher. I mean, this, you're ways off. 251 was the all-time high, but you're right. It's consolidating again.
Ooh, I don't know. Look a little toppy there.
Say, Joe, that's why we have a market, though. You always got two opinions.
And two highs in the same
Remember,
area.
Joel took the other side of my GameStop AMC. Remember on Monday?
I did not. No, I did not.
You were trying to talk us out.
Do you want to go back and listen to that? AMC. I did fade you on that move at all. I agreed.
Did you roll the tape? One? Who was fading me on that? Somebody was.
I wasn't fading you on that.
When AMC was 41 and GameStop, I was like, you know what? These charts are set up. These could go.
That could have been me. Was it you? That could have been me. Yeah, it's possible.
AMC is not your stock.
No,
that's not Spencer Israel's stock. He makes some good calls, but I got him on the bet on the AMC where I wanted Tim Hortons card. I don't know who it was, but I thought somebody was going against me on the AMC buy, but I didn't actually buy. I'm just saying on the call that we made on what was it, Tuesday when it's 41. I was like, it's setting up. I should have bought some, but I said I can't stomach the stock, so which I can't. So I didn't buy any, but hopefully some people did.
All right, let's just do one more news item before we get to like the real big moves of the day. NIO this morning cut their delivery guidance for the quarter, and they reported lower deliveries in August compared to July. There's the headlines in the Benzinga Pro. So NIO trading down this morning on those headlines.
You got XPEV trading in sympathy. Yeah. I know we're gonna do.
They also had numbers as well.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay. Well, not even sympathy on their own numbers.
There it is in the Benzinga Pro right there. So their deliveries year over year is not really interesting to me. You got to compare it to July. So NIO's deliveries were down month over month. That's the big deal. Plus, they lowered they said supply chain problems. That's the same thing that everyone else is saying.
Yeah. Yeah, those dang supply chain problems. Campbell Soup actually was talking a little bit about that too, but with the margins, but it's actually trading up. We'll get to that in a second. Neil, you got to hold this key level. It's 36.24. That's where all the lows are. 36 handle. It doesn't hold there. Katie barred the door of the stock at C30. So it's 36 is critical support for this stock to hold. It has been losing trend for a long time. I tend to think this stock eventually is going to go lower, but I've thought that for a while. It's still been holding on here. I was bearish, I think, 3 months ago. It's been holding on. I don't know. I think eventually it's going down, though.
Did they deliver 8 cars instead of 9?
No, they actually sell some cars. You make that joke every time we talk about it. They actually do sell some cars. Neil sells some cars.
Well, they're guiding for the quarter. They're going to deliver somewhere in the neighborhood of 23,000 cars.
They
23,000 cars.
Yeah, they sell some cars.
I could make that in my
challenged how it, but I guess you can't talk fundamentals. So maybe we won't. We can't talk fundamentals. We're not allowed to because fundamentals are voodoo here in this market.
I could make 23,000 cars in my garage.
I'd like to see that
in a month.
I'd like to see that.
PreMarket.
Joel's going to become a car maker. Next Elon Musk.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
We're not going to call them Teslas.
Actually,
Elconins. This is a negative for the car market. I think Lisa's lease is up, and I think she's going to buy her car too, because the leases are just ridiculous out there. And she has this. She's had her car for like 3 years, and I don't even know. I think we still got the plastic on some of the seats. I don't even know how many miles are on it. So, because I keep telling her I'm done buying cars, and so she's going to buy her car. So we just may be done, just right off into sunset. Oh, you know what else I forgot to tell you about Chicago? That it makes me bullish Lyft. You see those Lyft bikes? They're absolutely everywhere.
What is a Lyft bike? I don't
know that I have.
It's a Lyft bike.
Oh, it is. You know how they have those crazy scooters in Detroit that you can hop on and go anywhere?
Yeah.
Well, all over Chicago, they have Lyft bikes, and they're bikes made by Lyft, and they have some kind of electronic mechanism too, because you can get pedaling and then you can keep going and go really fast. And they have these stations all over the place. And, you put your credit card in, you take the bus, and there was I literally saw thousands of them around town. And, they're probably cheap to make, great margins on them. And actually on Saturday, when I was absolutely exhausted walking around 95 degrees, I'm like, Lisa, we're taking one of those home for Fullerton. And she's like, because we didn't have helmets. And I said, I could care less if I cracked my head against the sidewalk. Because it was so hot out. But as it turned out, after we jumped in the lake, we ended up walking, another 1.5 miles, and I never took it. But you should check them out. They're pretty cool, and they probably got to be making a lot of money, build the bike. Does anyone know what I'm talking about in Chicago?
Yeah, the chat does. I don't. But
yeah, cool. Makes me bullish Lyft. All
right. Let's talk about skills. This is the top 2. The stocks with the top 2 most mentions on Reddit yesterday: Skills and Corsair. We've talked about Corsair for a couple days now. Skills going with it. SKLC.
You just got to know the Reddit stocks. We're at an environment where story matters more than anything, and the story gets hot, and they start talking about it on Reddit, and then the media will say, "Oh, they're talking about it on Reddit." Then the algos get in there, and they start ripping these things higher. It's just Momo. Like I said, there's these waves of algorithmic buyers that follow the momentum. There's those waves of retail traders that follow the momentum, and it really pushes price wherever the hell it wants to go. So you got to be aware. If your stock is started to get talked about on Reddit, you better not be short it, and you might want to consider going longs in some of these cases. Like yesterday would have worked. We talked about it.
What time did they start talking about it on Reddit? Was it
how do we track this? Here's a question. How do we, I see all kinds of different people and different places, but is there any efficient way that says, oh, this is the new stock they're talking about on Reddit? Is there a good place to track this stuff? Chad, I'm asking you too.
You can ask me.
I'm new to this whole meme, social media influence. Where do you have a good place that tracks this and gives this information to you quickly? Because now that, everybody's talking about it, obviously it's a different story. But
All right,
if there's a
three places.
give them to me.
First place is we're watching these places in Benzinga Pro. So we're always posting in Benzinga Pro what's being talked about on these platforms. If you want to go direct to the platforms themselves, I've done this before. I'll do it again. I will share my screen and show you exactly the two platforms that we look at. There's two that I look at. I think most people probably use as well. One, Swaggy Stocks.
Okay.
SwaggyStocks.com, right? You can see right here the disproportionate mentions.
Well, where's the time? Is that a time access there?
Well, yeah. Man, where's the here? This is.
I'm on Swaggy Stocks right now. Where do I go? You have to subscribe to this.
No. So just go to the Wall Street Bets
real time sentiment. Section. Is that what I want to go to?
Or yeah, real time or ticker sentiment. They're both helpful. Okay,
ticker sentiment.
Yeah. And again, it's measuring the change in mentions, right?
So when did it? Because I'm just curious when this really. Because I know it had a good day yesterday,
right?
And Mitch came on with me in the final half hour, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, man, if this thing clears 12, it's gone. And I don't know. It picked up after that, so I mean, it was probably being talked about all day. Correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it breaks it down like intraday. I mean, it does with these.
Okay.
These
so it's
here.
You know what? This company it has that deal with the NFL. That's the thing. That's why I'm kind of kicking myself for not picking this one up near $10. They do. Is that correct? They have a deal with the NFL.
Probably
or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
But wait, hold on. But this is one place I use. The other place I use is Quiver Quant. Okay, and the data does not always line up. The data is not always Quiver Quant. The data is not always the same. This one's a little more granular though. So here's like a 1 day chart, and you can see here on the right. It's a little hard to see because the colors are similar, but right there on the top, SPY in terms of number of mentions. That's what the y-axis is, number of mentions. X-axis is time. SPY, Corsair, Skills, 1, 2, 3, and you can kind of see the increase going back. This is a chart of just the last
SPY. What are those guys doing with SPY?
Hey, why the top?
Don't worry about it, Joe. Don't worry about it.
SPY's
boring. If you're using this for information and making good trade decisions, more power to you.
And again, as I said, this information is in.
What the hell I'm looking at?
This information is in. If you're like Joel and you're like, I don't want to look at this, that's fine. The information is in Benzinga Pro. We post these headlines like 5, 6, 7 times a day. We update the stocks being talked about, so it's in there. I promise. If you just go in Benzinga Pro and I'm not sharing my screen now there, and you search Swaggy Stocks. Wait, that's not the right search. Hold on.
Swaggy Stocks.
Let me just search trending.
How about?
I'm trying to figure out the right keyword search. I mean, every day we're posting this, right? Wall Street Bets. You can search Wall Street Bets.
Can you search like WSB? Just go WSB.
Or just search Wall Street Bets. Every day.
What's happening? All those stocks are in there.
Every day.
Yeah.
Headlines. And you don't even have to click on it.
Yesterday you had what was in there yesterday? I'm just trying to look.
So look,
Skills. Corsair was in there yesterday.
Skills 8 a.m. Oh, that's today. Right?
Yeah, that's today.
Right. But every day,
Corsair yesterday.
Right. So those are the 3 places I would
It's hard because I've went on Wall Street Bets. People say go straight to Wall Street Bets.
It's impossible.
There's so many different stocks being talked about. It's how do you know Skills is going to be the one that really catches fire because they're talking about 100 stocks.
And I say that as someone who is I've been on Reddit for a decade, right?
Yeah.
And it is impossible to navigate and figure. And
you could buy 100 stocks and then you got Skills in there, but the other 99 suck and you're making nothing.
And everyone in the chat that's rolling their eyes right now, frankly, the only thing that's different than the way things used to be is, it used to be it wasn't about what was being talked about on Reddit. It was about what was being talked about amongst the hedge funds, right? On the Bloomberg, right? One hedge fund says one thing, it goes to another, It's the same thing.
Information didn't travel as quick as it does.
It's the same thing.
We're in the information age now, so it's just different. You never saw, because I've traded 22 years professionally, and I can tell you that what was driving stocks 15 years ago wasn't, we obviously know it wasn't social media, but it wasn't being driven by what's the hedge funds talking about. You'll have somebody mention on CNBC. That always drove stock. So maybe, somebody mentions that, oh yeah, hedge funds are talking about this stock on CNBC, and then that stock would move.
Yeah.
But now it's like this information is everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
But
There's so much.
How is this different than that? It's the same idea. It's one group of investors talking about a stock.
But it's just multiplied times like 20, because you get the guys on Discord talking about a stock, and then you get the guys like you were saying yesterday. One of the the apes was talking about who started the Corsair CRSR. They started talking about it. Apparently, you said it yesterday. I don't know who that was, but you mentioned yesterday on the show that a high-profile YouTuber was pumping or talking about CRSR, and that's why it was taking off. I mean, there's just places everywhere where their influence is just incredible. And as a trader, you're trying to navigate, okay, well, what's going on here? Where do I want to go? The information is just everywhere. Where when you went 15 years ago, it was like you're getting information. It was like CNBC. There wasn't as many sources. There's so many different sources now that stocks are moving from everywhere. So it makes it really tough on traders.
Sure. The only difference is now nobody cares about the stock the last stock that Carl Icahn just bought. Nobody cares.
What is up with
That's
Carl
true
Icahn?
too.
Nobody
They have
Where
less
is
influence
Carl?
than they used to be. You're exactly right.
He's living his best life, Joel. I don't know.
I hope he's doing okay, Uncle Carl.
I hope.
How old is Carl Icahn now?
Probably in his 80s.
Yeah.
Google can answer all questions. Actually, you can just go like Siri. Siri, how old is Carl Icahn?
Oh, Lisa hates that Siri when I talk. She's like,
there you go. 85 years old. Siri answers everything. Siri knows all. Siri, why is Corsair moving today?
She won't know that.
Oh,
right.
It tried. Okay, we better stop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the principle. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's Dennis's point. Information is moving a lot faster. It's a lot more democratized, and that's the way it is right now. Adapt or die. 8:30. We're gonna have Sean Emery on in 5 minutes. So everyone,
Sean.
Do me a solid, do us a solid, and smash that like button, please, and thank you. What have we not gotten to yet? We haven't gotten to. Baba was on my list.
We were supposed to talk Baba yesterday, and we never really talked it much.
Okay, so there's a potentially, I say that word, meaningfully, potentially bullish headline in Alibaba this morning as it relates to the Chinese government, and the headline is that the state-backed firms are taking a stake in the Ant Group's credit scoring business, and the thinking is, okay, you have the state investing in this company, and that could A, revive the Ant IPO in the first place, and B, signal just general statewide confidence in Ant Group and by extension Alibaba. That's the thinking this morning.
That was the buy 2 days ago. Again, it's hard now. It's moved off. It's up 9 points. Do I like Alibaba? I'm still long it in the long-term portfolio, so I still do like it. But wow, I don't know. Like it's hard to just chase stocks and they just rally 9. It hasn't been the environment where it's paid to chase. So get a little dip again. I think the Alibaba low is in. I think at least the short-term low.
Okay, I'm going to take this off this.
And then you had the retest, those 2 days. That's when you want to be buying. And the retest when you put the nice little double bottom in the 158s. That was the buying opportunity. So now I got to say I missed it for a trade. So I'll move on to the next one. You can chase and might go to 180, might go to 200. I think I'd be a buyer of dips on Alibaba at this point in time, though. Right. Joel, what are you doing over there? You're not even listening to me again.
I am.
I'm talking to myself.
I'm doing this.
He is.
Look at what I did.
He's doing something. Wait, let's make
DDC says the bottom is in.
Yeah, and I put the date. I got to put the date on these things, or else it doesn't.
I said it when it was 159, actually, though 160, because that was the retest. And I was liking that retest, so I wanted it at 160. But okay, mark me at 169. But I just said the problem is you're gonna say 169. I didn't want. I want to dip now.
Now I gotta read. Okay.
Anyway. Okay.
It's 159. It's a 169. Okay.
The valuation again, though, fundamentals suck, so it's hard to just look. I still have this, CFA hat on, where I still look at everything from a valuation perspective.
Can't help
himself. Probably cost me money. I know.
You can't help yourself, Dennis.
I can't help myself. I just look at certain valuation. I was like, who's paying $1 million for a digital rock? I just can't grasp it. But then they turn around and sell for $2 million. I was like, they were pretty smart. I should have bought the rock for $1 million and sold it for $2 million. I should have bought the Brady NFT for 20 grand and sold it for 100 grand. But I didn't do it because I can't grasp that something just created out of nothingness can be worth somethingness. I can't grasp it.
This is always a tough chart in the Bobster just because of the overnight trading and whatnot. But if you're interested in a short-term target, 170.28 was that little spike. And then, boy, we didn't get near that area, did we? Well, we haven't been up there. On 170. 169.61, that was your high on August 25th. So 170, get above, hold 170. It'd be a good day for Alibaba.
All right, it is 8:34. I want to bring on Sean Emery. Sean, just flip your camera around so we can see here. I saw you for a second. There we go. Let's get Sean Emery on the show, everyone. It's been far too long. He's the founder and CIO of Avory & Company. Sean, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
What is on the TV behind?
Ooh, that is cool. What is that in the background? He's got video games going on.
Apple Arcade. Just, let's professionalize this a little bit.
Can you maybe turn that up there?
No, I like it.
You're kind of giving me a headache.
Nice.
Sean, can I ask, how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you, Sean is one of the most educated 32-year-olds. So I always learn from you, Sean. We love having you on, and you've brought us some great stocks on pre-market prep over the years. You brought us Square years ago.
Years ago.
I'm telling you. And Sean, if there's any investor who's more long-term than Joel, I think it's Sean. You got a long-term time horizon on usually most of your picks. So
I do. I'll be honest there. And good afternoon, dads. I just wanted to make sure I threw that in early on here.
Thank you. So, Sean, what are you watching these days? Dennis mentioned Square. You were bullish that way back in the day. What else is on your radar right now?
Yeah, we continue to love Square in general, right? There's valuation issues, right? When you start to think about things in general, we like a couple different categories. I think where we're focused purely, or where we're trying to stay away from, is some of these higher valuation plays that happen to be in the areas that we really understand and really enjoy to kind of invest in, enterprise software. Many of these are exceptional companies today. We're trying to pick through those and try to understand what is sustainable within that cohort. Now, what I've seen over the last, I'd say 6 months is, while markets have been pushing higher, what have you seen? You've seen 40% of stocks, 15% or more down from their highs. You have things like Zoom, which just entered that recently, and Zillow and some others that were beneficiaries of kind of COVID in a sense, right? In terms of trends that took place and having these pretty difficult comps, which are creating confusion, in my opinion, and trying to sift through all of that to try to gauge kind of where is their sustainability in some of these business models where they've captured attention of their consumer base. And I think, while not saying we own or not own any of those two, Zillow or like a Zoom, I think they have captured attention. And in addition, valuation has come off quite a bit. So those are interesting plays. And then on the flip side are the ones that were damaged during COVID that are coming out arguably stronger than ever, some in retail. We've talked about like a Capri in the past, which is Michael Kors, Jimmy Choo, Versace. That's that luxury space. So if we're talking about like Asia and trying to participate there without having like maybe direct, and I was listening earlier about Baba, if you didn't want that direct exposure where kind of government could potentially put you under quickly, you could have that in kind of the luxury cohort. And anyways, that's kind of like the two different areas that we're looking for: the damaged that are coming out stronger than ever, and then some of those that are facing difficult comps where maybe there's a little bit of cloud in terms of direction.
How do you conduct your research? I mean, I know you're a fundamental guy. I mean, you're going over balance sheets. I don't know how much you pay attention to charts, but tell us a little bit about your research.
Yeah, I would say so. Idea generation is obviously critical. We have a pretty clear process. One is structural growth stories. So those are areas where we're trying to look out kind of 3, 5, 7 years out. So think of like the Squares of the world back in the day, Wix of the world when we've talked about in the past. Really trying to understand where consumer trends and corporate trends are headed. So we have different innovation blocks that sit within that. So things like shift to a cashless society, healthcare automation. We've talked about Omnicell. No one really cares about Omnicell, but it's been this incredible story that's blossomed.
What is that? What is that? Omnicell?
A medication management company. So they're trying to automate the pharmacies, both in kind of acute settings, so like hospitals, and then recently have been moving pretty aggressively into retail pharmacies. So we think medication management, huge problem. Huge problems means opportunity, and they're the leader in that space. Kind of, we call it them in Pixis, which is owned by Becton Dickinson, kind of the Boeing Airbus duopoly in a highly regulated, pretty important spot. So that's like the structural growth components where we're really trying to find areas there, or investments there, and then transformation stories. And transformations are really about companies doing something, whether it's Chipotle changing management team and unlocking value through kind of menu expansion and shoring up their supply chain, or it's something like Capri, which is acquiring Versace, expanding their fleet, trying to stabilize the core brand and increasing margins. So that's structural growth stories, transformation stories. It's kind of two ends of the spectrum for us, and it allows us to, what we believe, find opportunities in any market and not really get pigeonholed as time goes on.
Do you ever use your research to like pick on stocks? Like, for example, you mentioned that I think Omnicare or Omnicom, like a stock that's going to get into delivering drugs and everything. Do you ever look at that as like a negative for someone like for CVS or Walgreens Boots Alliance, and then go out and short stocks, or you buy only?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're long bias for sure.
Okay.
So the name was Omnicell, and at the end of the day, again, when you're looking for a company, at least when we're looking for a company, we're looking for something that has some sustainability to it. So in some ways, there's competition or cooperation, and some people merge the two words. But in a sense, again, you're trying to find someone that has some sort of defensibility. And it may not be today. Again, like we've talked about Square here, but Square was a pretty good one where they didn't have necessarily a clear defendable moat just yet, but they were building one. And obviously now Cash App has 40+ million users and network effects attached to it, and obviously expanding pretty rapidly. But that's a pretty good example of like the story or effort we're looking for a company to build.
Yeah, guys, I keep putting Sean's Twitter handle up on the screen. If you don't follow Sean on Twitter, highly recommend it @_Sean David. He's always dropping like some tidbits from his research and screenshots there. You talked about all these pandemic stocks, and you said you're a little bit non-committal though in them right now. So just to be clear, I mean, where do you stand on the group right now?
So you're saying the pandemic winners?
Yeah.
Like the ones that
Zoom
accelerated 8 years.
DocuSigns.
Yeah. So obviously looking for sustainability in those cohorts. And I think two of the ones I mentioned, I think there's some sustainability there. Like the Zooms and the Zillows. I think Zillow does have a pretty interesting opportunity here. One, because obviously they have the 200+ million users coming on to and viewing kind of housing as kind of their entry door to find their next home or next apartment. And I think that's a pretty strategic place to be. It's almost like being the point of sale at whether it's a website like a Shopify and or inside of a brick and mortar facility. You essentially, when you're at that intersection of the beginning of someone's journey, I think you have the opportunity to expand. And some people call it optionality, and some people call it something else. But for us, I think their move into iBuying is interesting. I know it's low margin, but it's really about the attach rates of other services and products to that. In addition to, I think, look, I mean, I can envision a world where Zillow and potentially another brand that maybe they create out of this is some sort of competitor to, let's say, the Airbnbs of the world. When you're buying 3,000, 5,000 homes pretty quickly and potentially holding some of those. And right now it's about just kind of getting them off your balance sheet quickly and creating the transaction and really igniting the space. But I can envision a world 5-10 years from now where there's some sort of competition there. In addition, another one is like Fiverr. I think the freelance / digital services, I think digital services in general are pretty intriguing. And we appreciate the fact that they have a marketplace that they've built that I'd argue they are in a league of their own. When we first started analyzing this company several years ago, we envisioned them having 4 million buyers in year 8. And that was kind of like 2 years ago. So year 8 would be like 6 years from now. And sure enough, in about the pandemic accelerated the adoption of buyers on that platform. And they've done a really good job at really building trust on that platform. And again, when we're talking network effects, where there's buyers and sellers in a marketplace, those are hard to break. And they've just recently added subscription models to both sides. So I think there's transaction layer, but also a subscription model that can potentially happen for businesses and consumers. So we really, really like the model, really familiar with the management team. And we appreciate the future of Fiverr.
So one thing I've always struggled with, Sean, is you picked on, you pointed out Fiverr, you pointed out Zillow. For every Zillow, there's a Redfin. For every Fiverr, there's an Upwork. So like, how do you know which one to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're trying to look for sustainability, and arguably, what is the most important part of the equation? So one, Upwork and Fiverr, they are different, right? So one's more kind of auction based, and the other one is more truly buying a service. So you're going on there, you know what you pay. It's like shopping for something on Amazon. You click a buy button and you buy it, right? On Upwork, it's more, hey, I have a job, and I'm looking for a digital, rendering of something, and it'll send it out to all the individuals or agencies on Upwork, and then you'll get maybe some quotes back. So they're different mechanics within those companies. And again, they both accelerated during the pandemic. So that just goes to show you it's not necessarily like a winner take all. They're really just capturing a new market and capturing their own lanes and swim lanes in that market. And there's some places where the same sellers are on both platforms 100%. But that's like commerce in general, where when you go digital. Now on the like Zillows of the world and the Redfins of the world, I think when I explained it before, it was more who's capturing the front door more than the other. And ultimately, would be the thesis is the company capturing the front door, and that's what we're determining the most important part of this equation. And then tracking that and trying to make sure that the front door is still being captured by Zillow over time. The beauty of that is it's pretty easy to see that data because it's pretty available through different sources that you can either purchase or do it yourself.
Sean, you're always looking at growth. How much do you put in valuation? Do you like analyze like where you can go? I know because obviously you bought Square, and at the time I was like, whoa, but the multiple. Now you look at it, grew into that multiple, from where it was before. Like you look at a Zillow, the stock's been cut in half here, this year from 200 to 100 there. How much do you put weight in in valuation?
A lot of weight. Again, we try to see where, with some reason, where kind of this market starts and ends. A lot of people try to bake like optionality into their original kind of equations. We try not to, and we really try to think of like, hey, what are they tackling now? But valuation is important. Again, if you went through our portfolio, I mean, look at companies like Capri trading at 10 times and Electronic Arts trading at 15, 16 times. Someone like Electronic Arts is in this growth category, right? They're not necessarily this hyper growth company like the cyber security stocks and some others. Yet they are in a category and they're taking meaningful share within different segments of the category. So it's pretty interesting from that standpoint. So we do focus a lot on valuation. Otherwise, again, we probably own almost all the companies I've mentioned and all the pandemic ones and the snowflakes of the world, even though I appreciate these companies tremendously. But again, valuation is 50 times revenue. Again, you're growing at 100+%, but still there's a lot of execution risk when you start to get multiples like that.
Otherwise, you'd be Kathy Wood if you weren't looking at valuation.
Yeah. All right. Sean Emery is the founder and CIO of Avory & Company. His Twitter handle, I'll put it back up on the screen, @_Sean David. Great perspective on long-term thinking and disruption. Sean, thanks a lot as always.
Awesome. All righty, guys.
Thanks, Sean. We'll get you back on soon.
All right.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, great stuff there from Sean as always. All right, guys. Second day in a row. Last time though, I have to hop early. I have to get ready for day 2 of our crypto festival. We're talking to Fred Thiel today, CEO of Marathon. We're talking to Hut 8. We're talking to Bit Digital. These are names that you should know in the crypto space, big public companies. So that'll be coming up live after this is done. I'm going to bring on Mitch, or he can bring himself on, frankly. And I will have to
come save the show.
Save the show. Save the show. Save the show, please. Your show doesn't need saving. Maybe it does. I don't know. All right, I'll see you guys.
What is that? What are you doing? A little air guitar there, Mitch?
shooting Spencer out
He's
of here.
shooting Spencer down. He's trying to take
No.
his job. Remember? That's why he gets Spencer out. He schedules Spencer over there to get him off the show so he can come in and take
So I
Spencer's
can bring the
job.
fire. I gotta bring the fire. You guys, if you guys want the fire, start hitting that like.
Oh,
We need
and
to
see,
get
look,
on
so
up.
like I
Let's
always forget,
go.
and then I like the show too. So I like
Oh,
my own show
gosh.
almost every day.
All right,
Joel,
so I'm
have
seeing
you ever liked the show?
319
I bet
likes.
Joel's never even
Goal
liked the show
is
before.
So childish.
So
500. You know what it's all about, Joel? It really is all about just giving an opinion.
No,
I
you know
don't
what?
care
You know
if
what
you
it's
hit a
all
thumbs
about.
down.
It's all about YouTube algorithms.
Ooh.
And if the more likes that you get, the higher you go up in their queue. I know this stuff, man. I know all this
like
YouTube
show.
stuff.
You
You gotta like the
stuff.
show, and then it goes up the Google ladder, and then you.
But that's my thing. My thing is I don't care if you even hit the thumbs down. I just want you to have an opinion.
Yeah.
I just want you to have an opinion. I am okay.
We care.
with
Don't
both
hit the
sides.
thumbs down.
All right, now Mitch has too good a content to be arguing with him about the likes.
Yeah, let's go. Let's bring the fire. All right.
What do you got? We're going ticker time. Where are we going? Mitch, lead the way.
Let's
lead
go.
The way.
Fubo.
Oh man,
Oh,
did I ever
Dennis.
screw this one up? I liked it down here. I was like there's the like word again. But we were talking with this 25 support.
All right,
It's such
so-
good support there. It was like the level of all levels. It would not come off. And I actually did buy it on that nice little pullback there. And you know what? And I talked myself out of it. So I
Dennis,
made a
why
little
don't you
bit of
just
money.
put
It
a
wasn't
stop
enough.
in?
I talked myself out before you. I know. I just talked to myself. I talked too much. And I talked to myself, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I
Well-
like the 25 support. It's set up pretty good.
I think.
Anyway, so I sold the day before the big move, and obviously disappointed in myself.
Wait,
Dennis, were you
Dennis, I have a
thinking-
question. I'm sorry, Mitch.
No, go ahead.
Dennis, do you interrupt yourself?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Mitch.
Happens to me
Constantly.
too.
My
Dennis,
head
don't
is
worry.
just talking to itself constantly. And yes, I interrupt. I interrupt everyone, including myself.
It
Go
just
ahead,
keeps
go
going.
ahead,
It keeps moving in there. I know how it goes. One thing is, my idea is, were you thinking about the story of Fubo as a streaming service, or were you thinking about Fubo as a story in a gambling play? This is what's making this drive right now.
Right.
So one of the follows that I like to follow, guys, and I'll just give a shout out, Ryan Butler. If you guys don't follow him, Butler Bets, I definitely suggest. He's very good at coming out really quickly with the news that's in the gambling sector and the gambling industry. So he's talked about how days after it received Arizona's sports betting license, Fubo announced that it has the sports betting license in Iowa. And then I put out this one also, that it also has 4 states already with agreement: Arizona, Pennsylvania. So I think, Indiana and New Jersey, I think they're just getting started. They're going to continue trying to expand through partnerships. And so this is going to be very interesting. I'll put the chart back up. Now it's really starting to uptrend, has a solid support. And what are the levels to watch, Joel?
That support level was awesome.
Yeah, well, the support is history. Just trying to get the highs of the pre-market session. First thing I'd like to do is just where are we trading in relation to yesterday's high, and we're right there right now, 29.53. So you want to see follow through that. I don't know if there's going to be anything at 30, but if you're looking for just a target for today, and I'm not talking any longer term than today, 30.45. Was your high on the 13th, and then there's a little gap up to 31.06. So 30.45, 31.06, fill the gap there. Third day move, that's not what I'm looking for. On a pullback, I think maybe you get a shot at the close today. You come down, you just nick that close at 29.15, maybe a little stop under 29, and then see if it can take out that high. But
Got some momentum going. I'd be a buyer of pullbacks on Fubo.
Yeah, 29.15 was close. I don't think we'll see it today.
All right, let's go ahead and transition to an analyst rating here. And I got to tell everybody, I'm a little annoyed because I got stopped out in this name yesterday. I was really excited when I saw it pop up. I got it on the pullback, but what happened to me here is being a little bit of both. I've been doing a little bit of that live trading stream, which has been getting me into the shorter time frames, and that's what got me stopped out yesterday. As you guys know, I talk a lot often about the 15 and the hourly charts. When I usually trade off of those, I catch supports. When I go a little bit inside to the 1 and the 5 is a lot of times where I get those stop outs to happen. That's what happened to me in run yesterday. Today, Wolf Research initiated coverage with an outperform rating. JP Morgan also added the stock to its tops idea list. I guess they were listening to the show yesterday, but they believe the stock could soar 90% here.
You know what? It was in consolidation station here. The time to strike was over the last week because you had the straight down 4 days. Then you get the consolidation. Now you get the move up. I think there's room to 50. So if you were in this, that would be my target is 50. But am I coming in chasing it up $3? I don't chase stock. So I would say I've missed this train. It's moving here now. I think there's room to 50.
I had 44.36 yesterday and got stopped out at 44.10. So
that sucks.
Oh, come on, Mitch. You 20. Oh, you were moving it up, or
he's tight.
I was
with
tight.
The stops. I'm always too tight too.
It had just done a run to 45.50.
Yeah.
So the upside looked good, and I was going to keep a tight down risk because the support was right underneath it. Didn't expect it to hold that well at 44. Someone was sneaky there at 44.
You got to go with when you get in trades like that, Mitch. Just think of all the time that you took to get into it in the analysis. Yeah. You should use the daily bar on something like that.
I agree.
And
100%.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. I mean we like to, look at the shorter term charts, and I think that the shorter time frame you're going, the less your chances are. And then when you get into like the 1 minute charts and things like that. I don't see how. I mean, it gives me. I'll go to the 1 minute, like on a jobs number or something, and I like to watch even a shorter term chart off the S&P Open of the regular session. But besides that, and just try and take your focus out. But anyways, 47.50 is the pre-market high. I got nothing there for you, folks. I have absolutely nothing there for you. The next daily high is not up to 49.57. I'm always careful on these analyst moves. Like the Adam Jonas and the Fisker. I mean, these. I remember someone upgraded CVX. So sometimes Peloton before the report. So sometimes they could have a lingering effect for a day or maybe 2 days and then reverse it. But if shorter term, if this came back into 46. It wouldn't trade 45.99 because I'd have a big old bet out there at 46.
Huh.
I think just keep your eyes on solar. You guys know I've been talking
you
about
mentioned that
solar
yesterday.
stocks too. I like the solar stocks too. I wish I had more.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching Maxen's one that I took some profit yesterday into the move up and then was stopped out of the position, break even on the rest, but not going to be mad about that. Was able to get half of it out on a good push up right at the open. We'll look for this one to recover today, hold 17 on any downside action, and get right back above that level.
So what else you got? Where are we
going now?
Tickers.
All right. So one thing that didn't get mentioned with that skills is that they've been doing a gaming challenge for a while now. This started back in February when they announced the partnership with the NFL and was supposed to end in late May. So I think they're going to start announcing pretty soon. You'll hear talks about that game developer challenge that they had with Skills and the NFL. Both will promote this game too. The NFL and Skills are said to promote this game once it comes out. Stay tuned for that. I think that could be the next catalyst for Skills. Just wanted to mention that. All right, last one is, and I want to take a look, Lucid going down, NIL deliveries not being met. What are you guys thinking about the EV situation here? I think you're going to start seeing a hard downturn in EV.
There's too many of them. And you know what? We've had some sell-offs, some significant sell-offs, and people are like, holy cow, these things are so cheap. None of them are cheap. A lot of these are pre-revenue. And the sector is out of favor. I still like the lithium stocks because I think the lithium stocks, I don't think EV is going away. There is going to be some winners out of these groups. It's just impossible to pick because there's like 100 of the things to pick from. So I don't want to own any of them really. I do own the Fisker. I've said that before. I'm underwater in it. I like that one going forward because they've got to deal with Magna. People say, why is Fisker different than Lucid, or why is Fisker different than all these other ones? The main reason for me is that they've got to deal with Magna. So, and we are going to see those on the road. So I like Fisker, but this is longer term. It's in the long-term account. I've played it a couple of times and had some good trades off of it. I'm gonna continue to hold it, but there's a ton of these other ones that I think a lot of these aren't even going to survive.
That Lucid still getting pounded here. So much for my 17 buyer, so much for the 16 buyer.
We talked about 15. I mentioned 15.
Yep.
Mitch has mentioned 15.
Yep.
So twice we've mentioned the level where maybe you get the bounce, but again, that's the most dangerous play. So if you're going in at 15, if it gets down there, which it was 17 when we started talking about it, and I was saying this could see 15, because Mitch's number.
I got a plan. I got a plan of attack here. What I'm going to do is
what are you doing?
I'm going to be looking for 3 entries, 15, 14, 13. This could get me to 14.25 average. That's where I'll start holding towards, probably around 13.50, about $1 in risk there. Looking for the stock to get back up above 20. That's going to be the level that I'm going to look for the upside. And the reason why I'm going to attack this, I'm going to look for a retail washout at the open. What does that mean, guys? That means hard downside action, seeing those stops getting hit, just back. And then I'm going to be looking for it to get underneath that 15 really quickly, maybe 14.90s. And I'll be putting in an order probably 14.95, trying to get my first order. I'm going to go at this with that planned attack, understanding the risk that it is coming on the downside action. But I think today you'll see a nice recovery going later into the day.
How are you going to control the risk on it? That's what I'm just curious about, because I like your 15 number too. And give us the reference. Give us the reason for the 15. Mitch.
Well, the 15, of course, is the pipe price. This one didn't really get the pipe sold at 10. It got the pipe actually sold up there towards 15. So essentially they paid a premium to get into this stock. Yeah. Now that the lockup period is done, what I'm expecting is, okay, so the lockup period was up, let's say at the 18s and 19s. Anyone that's stuck around and is getting now towards that $15 price isn't going to want to get it out. I think it's going to hang out here. Just be careful, because one of the things is the upside. And we talk about this, there's a lot of volume on the top of this. You're going to run into some selling eventually. So that's why I'm not looking all the way up to, let's say, 60. I'm just looking to try to get a nice 20, 30% winner out of this.
So we got about a minute here left.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. If you guys want to head over to PreMarket Prep Plus, yes, I said it, with the man himself, Joe Elconin. You guys head out over there. Mitch. Dennis, of course, I know you're going to be killing it on your pairs trades. Go ahead and guys.
I'm starting rough. It's one of those days. I've been on a little bit of a roll, but today is starting rougher. I've been in the wrong side of a few things. It was long Facebook overnight for an overnight trade, and Rosenblatt downgraded that, so I've already taken the loss on that. But I've got a few not so nice trades here this morning.
Real quick before I hop off, we're going to do at the close again today, right, Mitch? You joined me yesterday. There. Yeah, at PreMarketPrep.com. They got the crypto event going. So I'm going to hop off right now. Join me. Extended ticker time, PreMarketPrep.com. All right, Mitch.
All right, guys, like always.
Talk to you later on.
We'll see you guys. Like always, guys, up next, we got a great event for you. Crypto, stick around. Spencer's there right now, guys. So you guys start learning about the cryptocurrencies. Yesterday was a highlight. I'd say the IRAs definitely got me interested. I'm going to be looking into what I can do in cryptocurrencies with an IRA account. But if you guys want to learn more about cryptocurrency, stick right here. It'll take you right on over, and we'll see you next time on PreMarket Prep, guys.